restaurants, and he figures each closing and reopening costs about $30,000. I spoke to people who, invited employees and their friends and friends of friends to come in. The issue is these closures come with not a lot of notice.
Yeah. Boy, I explain some of the stats involved here in terms of those that have closed maybe once, more than twice.
Sure. We were looking at some data produced by Yelp, and they said that nearly 39,000 of the businesses they tracked closed and reopened more than once between March 1st and the end of the last year, and that more than 17,700 reopened 3 times or more. It's not just restaurants and brew pubs, it's gyms, it's retail stores, it's beauty salons. It's a variety of different businesses.
There was a line, too, where somebody said, I guess there's a lot that restaurants can get used to and deal with and manage. This they cannot get used to, but a lot of them persist.
They're trying. I was talking to someone who, separate from this story, who was sort of saying, what else are they going to do? And I think a lot of these business owners, they really believe in their businesses. Many of these businesses were doing okay. Some of them were doing well or very well prior to the pandemic, and they're hoping to get to the other side of it.
Thanks, Ruth. Ruth Simon, senior special writer for the Wall Street Journal. Fellas, it's 2021, the year of the rally, the one where we kick 2020 into the rearview mirror and start changing things for the better. So why not dress the part? Be the man that's always on this year with Cuts Clothing. They redesigned the simplest classics like the plain tee from the ground up, combining cutting-edge fabric technology with intelligent, minimalist design to get the next-level comfort you have to wear to believe. The one that I love for winter is their new hoodie. The Hyperloop French terry fabric they developed not only feels buttery soft like the signature Pika fabric on their shirts, but it's temperature-controlled. You never have to take it off. And just like me, you won't want to. Entrepreneurs, mavericks, athletes, podcast hosts, everyone loves Cuts. They're echoing GQ. It's the only shirt worth wearing. Let's kick off 2021 the right way, starting with your wardrobe. Get 15% off your first order by going to cutsclothing.com/Gordon. That's cutsclothing.com/Gordon for 15% off the only shirt worth wearing.
No fear, just facts. This is America's First News, This Morning with Gordon Deal.
Thanks for being with us. Welcome into Thursday, February 18. Gordon Deal, Jennifer Kashenka, some of our top stories and headlines. A second winter storm is dropping on areas already suffering from an earlier storm. The Pfizer vaccine is effective against the South African variant of COVID. Talk radio pioneer Rush Limbaugh has died at 70. Executives from Reddit and Robinhood are among those testifying on Capitol Hill today about questions of market manipulation. The Justice Department is investigating New York's governor. Serena knocked out of the Australian Open semis. And the volunteers who made Taco Tuesday happen for Texas seniors despite the weather. That story in about 20 minutes. But what happens to leadership of the Republican Party in the aftermath of the nasty exchanges between former President Trump and Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell? In-depth analysis from Matt Makoviak, GOP consultant and host of a podcast called Mac on Politics. Matt, you knew Mr. Trump would eventually respond to Mr. McConnell's criticism. Your take on this?
Yeah, this really was inevitable, given McConnell's position on the events around January 6th and the former president's role in them. They obviously have a very different view on whether the president deserves some responsibility for the things he was saying about ways to basically overturn the election. Look, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is nothing if not strategic, and he has to be where his conference needs him to be. His goal is right now to stop Biden's agenda, but even more than that, to get the Senate majority back. And if you look at the map in 2022, it's a very, very narrow and difficult path to get the majority back. So, look, former President Trump takes things deeply personally, and the January 6th events. He feels he did nothing wrong. Former Leader Mitch McConnell, a very strong agreement That he has now twice in, I would call, highly culling floor speeches on the floor of the United States Senate. And based on what I know and what I've seen, I generally lean in the direction of Leader McConnell on this. I do think the president's statements were irresponsible. Once you lose in the courts, no matter what office you're running for, you have a responsibility to concede. And when you're president of the United States, you have a responsibility to usher in a peaceful transfer of power. And with the antics surrounding January 6th and Stop the Steal and the effort to not certify the electors, in my view, the former president was going a step too far. Now, I don't believe he should have been impeached. I believe it's unconstitutional. You can't impeach a president who's already left office. It was punitive. The trial was not serious. On the House side, they didn't allow the president to have a defense. On the Senate side, they decided that their vacation and Biden's legislative agenda were more important than actually interviewing witnesses. The whole thing was a circus. But in this case, I think McConnell decided he wanted to vote no on conviction, but basically vote yes on making it known that he did not approve of the things the president did and the things that he said in and around the days of those January 6th insurrection events.
Yeah. How about kind of the trickle down from some of this, too, with state Republican Party leaders censuring lawmakers who voted against Mr. Trump here?
Yeah, you're seeing, quick censures occur. You saw this in Louisiana. Yeah, you've seen that in a couple other states as well. Look, this is the challenge. The challenge is that the Republican base remains strongly supportive of former President Trump, and to a large extent, they don't really think he's done anything wrong, and they appreciate the 4 years he served as president. They appreciate the way that he got so many big things done, and that he fought for those people and for the 74 million Americans who voted him in 2020. 63 million Americans have voted for 2016. So we have a fit in the party. I think pretending that's not the case is just silly. But this is what happens when you're in the minority. You don't have one unified leader. And until we have a Republican nominee in, let's call it maybe April or May 2024, we're not going to have one leader. We're going to have a House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, who I think will be House Majority Leader in 2 years. We have Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who will lead the Senate conference, hopefully to the majority in 2 years. But we don't have a national leader. The most significant national figure remains Donald Trump. But I do think his hold on the party is going to slip little by little by little, day by day, week by week, particularly as he has not been as omnipresent in our lives as he's been the last 4 years while he's been deplatformed on social media.
Speaking with Matt Mackowiak, GOP consultant. How about the 2022 primaries here and Mr. Trump's role in those?
Great question. Yeah, I think you're going to see him want to, help his closest friends, punish his worst enemies, what he perceives as his worst enemies. You could imagine someone like Liz Cheney, the number 3 Republican in the House who voted to impeach, who survived a leadership challenge. We'll see exactly how organized and well-funded and strategic the Trump political operation is going to be. Obviously, the president wants to go do rallies to help his friends and punish his enemies in the Republican Party. That's going to be highly effective. But we'll see. Trump is one thing. Other candidates are something else. And it's not clear to me that Trump's strengths as a candidate among Republican primary voters transfer to other candidates running for other offices.
Nice, Matt. Matt Mackowiak, GOP consultants. Again, his podcast is called Mac on Politics. Coming up next, where to score a specially themed free donut today. When you call a Dell Technologies advisor, you're talking to someone who isn't waiting for their turn to speak, but who actually wants to hear what you have to say. They're focused on you, ready to give advice on everything from laptops to the cloud, and offer tailored solutions powered by Intel vPro platform to keep your small business ready for what's next. Our advisors listen, so you know your small business needs have been heard. Call a Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. Thanks for being with us. Welcome into Friday Eve. It is time now for the Mic Drop with this morning's Mike Gavin.
Good morning. Well, let's face some hard and true facts. If the real Mars were covered in frosting and cookie crumbs, man would have made it there long before the moon. In honor of NASA's scheduled landing of the Perseverance rover on Mars today, Krispy Kreme is offering an all-new Mars donut designed to look like the red planet itself, with caramel icing and chocolate cookie crumbs. The donut will be available for one day only today at participating locations. Krispy Kreme will also be offering the donut free of charge to any of the 11 million people who participated in NASA's Send Your Name to Mars program, which allowed NASA's fans to submit their name for inclusion on a microchip to arrive on the red planet with the rover.
Okay.
And you get yourself a donut for that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This whole Mars rover thing is just fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know the first thing about jet propulsion and rockets and all that stuff, but observing from afar, if you will, it's just so cool. It's a 7-month journey, right? I think NASA's describing what they call it the 7 minutes of terror.
Yes.
In which the rover has to slow down from 12,000 miles an hour as it enters the Mars atmosphere to softly land on Mars.
Right. And with the number of years, number of hours that they put into these things, I mean, just the idea that it could get there and then, you push the little remote button and it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Right.
After how many years of planning. I mean, your entire livelihood is sort of based around, today. So good luck to them.
It's a mini helicopter drone that's being launched from there. It's pretty cool stuff. And then I think there's like an 11-minute communication delay.
Right.
Which is why they won't actually know what has happened to Perseverance as it lands in real time.
Yeah, imagine that. Like, you're sort of
holding your breath, right?
Pushing a button and you got to wait like 11 minutes for something to
Come on. Where's the Wi-Fi? Where's the Wi-Fi here?
Exactly. And we know this should go without saying for anyone out there cheating on their spouse. If you're going to send your spouse a selfie while stepping out, you might want to look around and make sure there's no incriminating evidence in the pic along with you. That's what appears to have happened to a man whose wife outed him on TikTok. The woman posted a video to the platform asking people to examine the selfie she was sent by her husband while he was on a trip to uncover why she subsequently broke up with him. Some guessed the hair straightener on the bathroom counter was the giveaway, but others suggested that maybe the hotel provided one. Other users pointed out that the man wasn't wearing a wedding ring. Someone else spotted some woman's body wash. None of these, however, were the primary reason the wife ended the relationship. It was the black woman's purse tucked in the corner of the bathroom on the floor, which gave it away for her. Yeah. But there were a lot of different signs. It was like a Where's Waldo situation there, trying to figure out exactly which of these was the problem, and they kind of, I guess, were all the problem as it turns out.
Can we surmise that this guy is not a cop or a private eye of some kind? Just blatantly displaying evidence in the background of his picture.
Well, not to mention taking a selfie of himself in the bathroom mirror and then sending it to his wife. I mean,
what are you doing here?
There's a lot of problems here.
There's one way to become TikTok famous.
Right.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. The winter storm is a rarity for North Texas, and sometimes folks aren't always sure what to do. With massive power outages, refrigerators and freezers obviously are out of commission. Most likely, these folks don't have backup generators. Many are also lacking water due to frozen pipes. That leads to a lot of questions about food safety and what to eat and drink. DallasNews.com put together some tips. One that stands out: do not store your food outside, even if the temperature is below freezing. The USDA says that outside temps are inconsistent, causing chilled food to enter the danger zone of warmer than 40 degrees, allowing bacteria to grow, and frozen food could begin thawing. Food kept outside also could be exposed to animals, obviously, in unsanitary conditions. Other tips: keep refrigerator and freezer doors closed. A refrigerator will keep food cold for about 4 hours if kept closed. A full freezer will hold its temperature for about 48 hours or 24 hours if half full. 8 minutes now in front of the hour on This Morning. Once again, here's Jennifer Kashenka.
And now, the 3 big things you need to know. Number 1.
Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt has asked President Biden for a federal disaster declaration as a result of the winter storm that dumped snow and ice on the state, in addition to days of sub-freezing temperatures and power outages. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the federal government is doing what it can to help states struggling with power outages and icy roads, including Texas.
FEMA has supplied generators to Texas and is preparing to move diesel into the state to ensure the continued availability of backup power.
The storm now moving up the East Coast. At least 30 people have died nationwide as a result of fires, car accidents, and carbon monoxide poisoning.
Number 2.
The Justice Department has charged 3 North Korean computer programmers in a broad range of global hacks, including a destructive attack targeting a U.S. movie studio. and in the attempted theft and extortion of more than $1.3 billion from banks and companies. The newly unsealed indictment builds off an earlier criminal case